Hey, how are you?
Hey, Alex, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm glad that the tournaments got underway today.
Absolutely.
So, welcome to episode number 87 of Hoop Talk Fanatics. I'm here with Aaron Bracy, and we have a lot to get to with previewing the A10 tournament, the Big East tournament, ACC tournament, and everything else. So, welcome, and it's great to have you back, Aaron.
Oh, great to be here, Alex. And I'm happy to talk Atlantic 10, Big East, American. I don't think I'm your guy for the ACC. I don't have the insight into the ACC like I do the others. I could talk generally, but really glad to be with you. This is the best time of the year for a sports fan. March Madness is upon us, and yeah, just looking forward to talking to you about it.
hmm So, what are your thoughts on Villanova and how the bracket is for them?
Yeah, Villanova's a six seed. They're going to open up with 11 seeded Seton Hall on Wednesday night at Madison Square Garden. I will be there covering for Big5Hoops.com. I don't think it really mattered where you put them in the bracket. It's going to be a tough trek to the final wherever they are, but I kind of do like their spot. They have a Seton Hall team that has not been very good this season. They did give Villanova a little trouble the last time they played them, although Villanova pulled out of it with a really good second half run. The winner gets number 3 UConn on Thursday night at 9:30. This is a UConn team that Villanova has already beaten. Uh, Potentially in the semifinals, Villanova will get Creighton. That's the only team, Alex, of the 5 teams seated ahead of them that they have not beaten, although played them in close games. So certainly have shown they can beat the best in the Big East. They've beaten St. John's, the number 1 seed. So, I don't really know what to expect from Villanova. We've seen them beat some of the best teams in the Big East, and we've also seen them struggle with some of the lower half teams of the Big East and also some teams that aren't good, most notably Columbia at home way back in early November. So they could lose that first game, Alex, or they could make a deep run. Your guess is
hmm
as good as mine.
So, just tell the viewers of where you'll be from tomorrow to this weekend with coverage.
Yeah, I can definitely tell them where I'll be tomorrow and Thursday. After that, it sort of depends. Tomorrow, Wednesday night, I will be at Madison Square Garden to cover Villanova and Seton Hall. The game tips off at 9 o'clock, or scheduled to anyway. It's going to be a late night for me. I am going to take the train home, get in late Thursday or late Wednesday, early Thursday morning. I'm going to work a half day, then drive down to DC for Thursday night St. Joseph's game. They're playing in the second round of the Atlantic 10 at 7:30 at Capital One Arena. They're going to play the winner of UMass and LaSalle, who play Wednesday at 4:30 in the first round of the Atlantic 10 tournament. And then I will be at the Atlantic 10 tournament until either St. Joseph's and LaSalle loses, potentially as long as Sunday, which is the final. If one of those teams is not alive before Friday or get knocked out either Friday or Saturday, I guess, or before Saturday, most likely, I will be heading back up to the Garden for the conclusion of the Big East tournament, particularly if Villanova's there. If Villanova's not there, I'm going to have to decide whether to head back up. I think I probably will. But so Wednesday, Big East, Madison Square Garden. Thursday, Atlantic 10, Washington, D.C. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to be determined.
hmm So, what are your thoughts on St. Joe's and how they are in the A10 tournament, and how far do you think they can go for a run?
Yeah, I have a little bit of a better handle on St. Joe's, I think, than Villanova. St. Joe's is playing really good basketball right now. I throw out Saturday's loss at LaSalle. I throw that out the window more or less. I don't dismiss it completely, but that was going to be a tough game all along with Fran Dunphy. On Fran Dunphy Day, there's so much emotion for LaSalle. Prior to that game, St. Joe's had won 5 in a row, 9 of their last 12, playing really good and consistent basketball. And I see St. Joe's in a really good spot here as the number 6 seed. They're in the bottom half of the bracket, Alex. VCU is in the top half of the bracket. VCU is the one team in this conference where I think they have the talent to beat St. Joe's, even if St. Joe's is at its best. I don't think there's another team in this conference that can beat St. Joe's if St. Joe's plays at its best. Now, that we have not seen that all season. We've seen a very, at times, inconsistent team, although I think they've been more consistent in the last month or so here. So I see St. Joe's making a deep run in this tournament. I think they're going to get I think they're going to get it at least to the semifinals. And I would not be surprised by any means if they get to the final and if they beat VCU. I think this is a really good St. Joe's team. I have to say that I do think LaSalle could give them a game. The health of LaSalle's Jaleel White and Demetrius Lilly are in question right now. If those two players are healthy and able to play and LaSalle can get past UMass, I think they're going to be a tough matchup for St. Joe's. If those players are not healthy, I think LaSalle is going to have a tough time getting past UMass. And then Rashul Diggins from UMass is a really tough player, Philly guard. He's going to give St. Joe's problems, but I don't think UMass has enough to beat St. Joe's in that second round matchup. I see St. Joe's getting into at least the semifinals. And like I said before, I would not be surprised to see them in the final and actually win it.
What are your thoughts on the other A10 Philadelphia team, the Sal, and what do you think about them matching up against who they have, and how deep of a run can they make?
Yeah, like it's this LaSalle team I thought could be a really tough out for teams. They showed early in the season that they could be a really good team. They played a lot of teams tough. They got to the final of the Big Five Classic, beating Temple at home, but they were just beset by some injuries, and things just kind of went awry. They ended up losing 8 in a row before beating St. Joe's. I no longer think this is a team that could make a deep run, in part because I don't think they are healthy. Jaleel White sat out the second half and some of the first half against St. Joe's. Demetrius Lilly's been banged up. So I don't think this is a healthy LaSalle team. I don't see them making a deep run for that reason. But they could surprise me. Fran Dunphy is in his final days as a coach. There's going to be a lot of emotion on the sidelines, a lot of emotion on the court. And sometimes emotion can carry the day, as we saw on Saturday at Glazer Arena when LaSalle upset St. Joseph's. So I am not seeing a deep run here, but I could be surprised.
My next question is, what do you think about the most intriguing story of each tournament?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of intriguing storylines throughout. Let's start with the Big East. You have two-time defending national champion UConn. They're a 3 seed. No one's really expecting a ton from UConn. Everyone seems to be pinning the Big East hopes on St. John's, and rightly so. St. John's has had a great season. But for me, I think whether UConn can kind of capture its magic that it's had the last 2 seasons and play well in the Big East tournament and head into the NCAA tournament on a roll. This is a UConn team that's been very much up and down this season, but it's a really good team. They have Liam McNeely, who's one of the best freshmen in the country, and they have a lot of talented players who've been through this before, Alex Caravan, most among them. So for me, the Big East tournament is always intriguing, many storylines, but I'm really curious to see how two-time defending national champion UConn comes out of the Big East. And in the Atlantic 10, I think really intriguing to see what VCU can do. This is a VCU team that I think, assuming they don't lose in the first round here or their first game, potentially is an NCAA at-large team, really good team. Max Scholge is one of the best players. He is one of the best players in the Atlantic 10. I think he won he's a unanimous selection to the first team. I'm assuming he will be the player of the year in the Atlantic 10. And Ryan Odom is a great coach. His days at VCU potentially could be numbered. I don't have any inside information, but I certainly believe Ryan Odom of VCU will be a candidate for any head coaching openings that arise, and just seeing what VCU can do. And of course, locally, seeing if St. Joe's can get to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2016. They have the talent, lottery pick in Rasheer Fleming, one of the best players in the conference in Eric Reynolds II, and the reigning A10 Rookie of the Year. Xavier Brown, who was named to the A-10 second team. So I think for me, I would love to see a St. Joe's VCU matchup in the final and see what happens. For me, that would be the most intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Will you be able to watch Temple's one in the AAC?
Yeah, so Temple is playing at the same time as St. Joseph's on Thursday night. They open the American Conference as a 7 seed against 10th seeded Tulsa in Fort Worth, Texas. I will certainly be following that game, Alex. I will have that game on my iPad on press row at Capital One Arena. And really curious to see if Jamal Mashburn Jr. is going to be available for Temple. He's missed 9 of the last 10 contests, which has been a real downer. I thought this Temple team had a chance to make a really deep run in this conference. They proved they can beat the best team in the league. I was there when they defeated Memphis at home, and yet they've been hit by the injury bug. Jamal Mashburn Jr. has been out, as I mentioned, 9 of the last 10 with a lower body injury. Quante Berry, one of their real surprises this season, has been banged up a bit. So my expectations for Temple are low as a result of Jamal Mashburn Jr. likely being out. I say likely. I actually don't have inside information. I am not sure whether he's going to be available. I am just basing my knowledge off of the recent past, having missed 9 of 10. But they've had, they'll have 4 days to rest here. So for Temple and Temple fans' sake, let's hope that Jamal is on the court. If he's on the court on Thursday and healthy, I think Temple has as good of a chance as any team in that conference. He's a bucket every night, can get you 20 on any given night, as good as any player in that league. And so I will be watching and following Temple from Washington, D.C., or wherever I am on Friday if Temple continues Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Going to your book, Soaring Season, I started to read it, and I really liked how it started. And how's it like being the author of a popular book and with like multiple signings and everything else?
Well, first of all, Alex, I really want to thank you for ordering the book. I'm really looking forward to your feedback. I'm really grateful for everyone who has taken the time to order it, to read it. And I'm glad so far that you like it. And what's it like to be an author? I just got chills when I said that. I just pinched myself. It's surreal. This is a dream come true for me, something that I've always wanted to do. From the moment I started reading about Bill Lyon in the Philadelphia Inquirer with my morning cereal in high school, I wanted to be a sports writer. And I've always wanted to write a book. I felt like, I won't say I've always wanted to write a book, but since I started reading books, I thought like, hey, I would really like to do that. I think I could do that someday. And I never was able to really find the idea. And then for this to kind of, so many things came together. It's like a godsend. I think I talked to you about it before on a previous episode here on your podcast. And now to actually have the book out, to go out and about and do signings. And it's like a real thing. Like, hey, this is actually happening. Very exciting thing happened today, actually, Alex. And I received the book that I ordered. I actually ordered one of my own books from Amazon. There was a bit of a delay in shipment to Amazon, but the books are now available at Amazon. They are flowing out. I got my copy today, and to open up a package from Amazon with my book inside of it was just surreal, incredible. And so I would encourage everyone, you can find the book at Amazon, big5hoops.com/A Soaring Season, Brookline Books. They're also available. And the title is A Soaring Season, the incredible, inspiring story of the 2003-04 St. Joseph's Hawks. And again, Alex, it's just a dream come true.
Mm-hmm. What was it like to plan every interview that you did for the book?
Well, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, my question is, what was like the planning of interviewing everyone for the book?
Oh, that's a great question. My brother Adam was recently on a golf podcast. He's a big golfer, club champion at Tavistock, and he said that if you don't plan to prepare, you you prepare to fail. I think that's what he said. I have to listen to it again. But basically, a lot of planning went into each and every interview. And planning is really important because what I try to do before every interview, Alex, is I try and dig up every nugget that I can find about the person I'm interviewing so that I can be thoroughly prepared to ask a lot of questions. I don't always know how much time I'm going to have, and I'm not always going to ask every question that I would like to ask, but I want to be prepared for every angle that potentially could be a really good question. And then I also want to be flexible to respond to any changes in direction that might come up during the course of the interview. While I'm doing my interviews, I did all my interviews for this book over the phone and not on Zoom, because I like to be able to have like my hands free and just be able to fully concentrate to what's being said. I'm listening and I'm taking notes as it's being said because I want to hear what's being said in case I need to pivot from my prepared questions. And then I have my prepared questions kind of on another paper to the side. So I like to have everything spread out on my desk where I can easily operate and easily get to my questions, take my notes. And so there was just a lot of preparation that went into it. And I like to try and just make my interviews more conversational, kind of like we're doing now, and see where they go. But really grateful to all 90 people who I interviewed for the book. Each person, someone says like, hey, who was the best interview or who was the most surprising? Every person that I interviewed was truly important to the development of the story, to help me understand the story and to help me tell the story. Grateful for every person. And Alex, as you've started to read, there's a lot of different voices. And I think that was really interesting to trying to figure out this story, is to hear from many, many different people and to get their perspectives on this story, this great story, the 2003-04 St. Joseph's Hawks. And so I really enjoyed preparing for the interviews. I really enjoyed doing the interviews. And I really despised transcribing the interviews. That was one of the least favorite parts of the book. Transcribing is a lot of work and not a lot of fun. Although I try to transcribe every single one of my own interviews, because as I'm transcribing, I'm listening back and thinking of ideas to how can I use this? How can I use this? What was told to me in the story? So as much as I really didn't enjoy that part, it was helpful.
In your own opinion, what is your favorite chapter?
Wow, that would be like asking who's my favorite child of my 3 kids. So I really can't say that I have a favorite chapter, but I will say this. There are a couple parts of the book that I really like. And I wrote the prologue, Alex, before I wrote anything else. And I wrote that at like 3 a.m. after I'd done like maybe 15 or 20 interviews, when I kind of had a little bit of a handle on the story. And I thought that the prologue, which I thought was going to be my first chapter, ends up being the prologue. But I thought that would be a good opening way to tell the story. I don't want to give it away to readers. I'd like people to go buy the book, order the book to find out. But I really, when I wrote the prologue, I kind of felt like, okay, I feel like there's like a book here. And I sent the prologue to my friend Craig Haley, a former editor of mine at the Trenton Times, the best editor that I've worked with. And I was so grateful that he took the time to edit it. And he gave me some valuable feedback and also some affirmation like, hey, this is pretty good. And so I felt confident going forward. I submitted that to publishers. And ultimately, that was what was the hook for publishers to want to tell the story. And a couple other things I'd like to share. There's a chapter about the Hawk mascot. And I really enjoyed the beginning to that chapter. And readers will have to decide, but I really liked the way that came out and telling that part of the story. I really liked being able to share stories about my friend Jack Shore, the longtime writer for the Associated Press, one of my mentors and one of my best friends. I was really happy to include that in the story. There are a couple of lines in the book that I kind of got a kick out of as a writer, particularly in a chapter about St. Joseph's in the NCAA tournament about liberty, where I think I wrote something like Jameer Nelson lit up the Flames defense and constrained Liberty's offense. I got a kick out of that line, and there were a few other lines that I liked. Those are some parts calling out, but I couldn't say that I had a favorite, because again, I think that would be like picking a favorite child, and they're all my favorites. Every chapter is my favorite.
Did you get the chance to hand a copy to Embiid?
I did not hand a copy to Embiid. I did hand a copy to Jameer Nelson that night. I did say hello to Embiid, but that's a good idea, Alex. I think I'll have to put that on my list. I will say that it's been a real thrill to be able to present the book to the players and the coaches. I did send a book to every one of the 90 people that I interviewed, although I have to say there were a few, Mike Jensen and Jerry Carino, two sports writers, who would not accept a copy of the book. They both insisted on buying a copy, which I'm grateful for. But I did send a copy to all of the 90 people that I interviewed. And I was really thrilled, Alex, to hand deliver copies of the book to Jameer Nelson, to Pat Carroll, to Dave Mallon, to Tyrone Barley, to Andrew Kofer, to Robert Hartshorn, to John Bryant, Rob Sullivan, Dwayne Jones. And those are all players on the team. I did send a copy to Dwayne Lee, who's now coaching at George Washington. I sent a copy to Brian Jezelowski, who's living in Los Angeles. I sent a copy to Delonte West through his family, and I hope Delonte reads it. I also have a copy going out to Artur Serov, who lives in Finland, and the publisher is helping me ship that from their London headquarters. I think I got everyone. If I missed anyone, I apologize. I believe I did get everyone, but I'm really thrilled to have gotten a copy in the hands of the players and the coaches, including the coaches, Monte Ross, Mark Bass, and Matt Brady, all of whom I sent copies of the book. So that was a huge, and of course, Phil Martelli, who I also gave a copy of the book to. So that was a huge thrill, Alex.
Before we end this episode, I just want to take the time to say I'd love to listen to your Twitter Spaces every Sunday night, and it's really impactful, and especially for hoop fanatics like me to really enjoy it. And I really love what you're doing for Big Five Hoops.
I appreciate it, Alex. And it was really great to get to meet you at the 76ers game recently. And I love your passion and enthusiasm for sports. I certainly appreciate your support of what I'm doing, and I really respect all you're doing here with Hoops Fanatics and the podcast. And I wish you and your partners and everything you're doing all the best. And one of the things about the book is, like, you don't have to be the best to beat the best. You don't have to be the biggest to beat the biggest. And the theme and the message to me is like, hey, you can do whatever it is that you put your heart and your mind to. And it's going to take hard work and sacrifice and teamwork and some luck involved as well. But for you and for anyone who has a passion for what you're doing, in your case, doing this podcast and the sports journalism on the side, in addition to your job, I wish you all the best, and you certainly can do it. And certainly would like to share that message with anyone out there who hears this and they have something in their heart and their mind that they would like to do. There's nothing stopping you. A lot of people are going to tell you can't do something, but you can do it. And I think that the story of this book, and I think when people read it, I think they're going to be really inspired by the story and what these players accomplished and what this team accomplished. And again, I just want to sort of swing that message over to you, Alex, and wish you all the best with everything you're trying to do. And hope that in some ways that when you read this story, perhaps it will provide you with some inspiration as well, and whatever you pursue in your life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I appreciate it, and wish you the best of luck with the travel from DC to New York City. And I'm looking forward to your coverage throughout this week.
Thanks so much, Alex. Thanks for having me on your podcast, and wish you all the best, and really appreciate you having me on.
Yep. Thank you.